Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon, and Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays to the rest of you. When this video drops, it will be Christmas, and so for this video I'm going to be doing something a little cheeky and fun, but maybe somewhat informative. But before we get started with our unboxings here, I wanted to just give you guys a heads up that I will be taking some time off for the holidays, but don't worry. Next week will be Redemption Week, where I have, over the past year, anytime I've lost a game on camera, I have gone back and attempted to win the game a second or third time, whatever it may be, on camera. So next week will be some replays of some games that I've already featured on the channel, but maybe I just had unlucky rolls or played poorly, improved my strategy, whatever it may be. So there will be some content next week. Just keep in mind that it's, all pre-recorded and just there for fun. And today we're going to be doing what I am going to call Merry Christmas to me. Now, in years past, every year, I always look for deals this time of year. There's a lot of games on sale. I am also, I'm shedding my collection of games that I don't feel like I'm ever going to play anymore, and other people are doing the same. So I've got a small grouping of games here that I've either purchased super cheap, whether it be Amazon or Target or something like that, and also a few games that I've purchased secondhand because people are just unloading them for super cheap. So I'm going to present them in order of most obscure to most common, and this is just going to be fun, a little fun for the holidays. And this isn't going to be a super in-depth unboxing because I actually have 4 games that I'm going to get through. So this is 12 Realms. This one I honestly know nothing about, but anytime with following a feed on Twitter or Facebook or something like that, and something pops up that a game is, 60+% off, I look for a few things. I look for, does it contain miniatures that my young boys could use to practice their painting? Is it a soloable game? Does it look interesting? Well, this one actually checked all those boxes. Ninja Division is a company that you might be familiar with, because it's partnered up with Soda Pop Miniatures now, and they have done things like Super Dungeon Explorer, and trying to think of what else they have done in the past, Rail Raiders, but they've got a pretty decent miniatures in their games, and this one just looked interesting, and it was honestly like $15 on Amazon. So it's like, why not? I actually found the game in my local game store earlier. I would have not paid it any attention, and it was retailing at my local game store for $70. So there you go. There are these really fantastic player boards here, but here are the miniatures that we're going to take a look at in a second. Realistic coins. I mean, honestly, that alone, the game could suck, and having the miniatures, which are kind of on the chibi side, pretty cute, very appropriate for my young children to paint. But we're also going to give this game a try at some point or another, because it's you can see it, you can play it with one player. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what's inside. Okay, so rule book, pretty standard here. Decently bright and colorful. Ooh, look at that. Game setup. Pretty big. I like that. Invader powers, a decent amount of text. Interesting that they've already got items here. This item is sold separately. This item is sold separately. So there's the rule book, 20 pages total. Game modes. Now let's flip this over, see if we can't find one. Very easy game. I like it. Easy game. Medium game. Okay. Hard and nightmare. Okay. Not bad. All right. So now we've got a very Fantasy Flight-esque storage divider here. Not quite as nice, though. It's not really holding its shape, but some decent artwork. This is really interesting that the miniatures here are like individually packed, which seems promising, as you know, people like Fantasy Flight just dump their miniatures into a big bag, and a lot of them end up getting bent and things like that. So what I'm going to do here is, yeah, they tear apart pretty easily. So again, I'm not going to cover this entire game in detail. The miniature quality appears to be okay. Like, this guy is bent. I don't think he's supposed to be leaning back like this. And his base is a little warped. But maybe he is. I mean, he actually is balanced pretty good like that. Just seems like he should probably be standing more upright. The plastic is pretty flexible. It's not super hard. So more than likely, these are going to be miniatures for my kids to paint, which is perfectly fine. At 15 bucks, there's a lot of fun miniatures in here. Let's see, there's another one in here that very much has that Mice and Mystics feel to it. Again, yeah, all these guys are kind of cattywampus on their bases. And there are these castle pieces, which look like they must fit in line with something because they've got this very distinct curve to them. But that's a unique piece right there. These feel pretty solid. We'll just show off one more here. And then we've got a little witch. Okay. So what else in here? We've got, looks like a queen. This looks like a military man. Guy with a sword. A little Red Riding Hood with a bow. A lady with bunnies. And more castle figures. So let's push all those off to the side and let's see what else is in the box here. Okay. All right. So here are our realistic looking coins. I would not call these realistic looking. They're certainly not cardboard, but these feel pretty cheap. Certainly not anything you're used to if, like, you have the Stonemaier metal coins, or, you know, Garfield Games is those metal coins, things like that. So there are those. All right. There are these log pieces. Those appear wooden. I have no idea what those are for. Some unique six-sided dice. These are kind of small, but they appear to be decent quality. I mean, they feel good in the hand, and whatever is on there is like heat pressed on there. It's not like a sticker. It's not engraved. It's not painted on. All right, for the sake of time, we will probably not go through all these decks of cards, but here's Lake Monster, 12 Realms, Ancient Mask, okay, and these tiny little square cards, okay, must be equipment. All right, then we've got some of our, I guess, probably hero boards. I'm gonna guess. So, Sugar Plum Fairy. Okay, so these guys are all like, yeah, the Nutcracker, Red Riding Hood. Okay, not really sure why Robin Hood is a cat, but there you go. Siegfried. Oh, this is cool. This is Snow White. D'Artagnan again is a fox. And Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc. Oh, and they all have fun sides on the other side. So most of this is just a slightly different paint scheme with a burst behind them. There you go. Red Riding Hood's no longer red. Nutcracker goes pink. Sugar Plum Fairy. Okay, so those must be the starting heroes. Then you have these boards, which are okay. You know, they're like a sticker. They're not printed on. You can see they are a little warped in there. but that's okay. So again, I don't know what these are for, but the artwork's not bad. Decent to look at. If that's really all I have to have sitting in front of me, a player board and one of those, that's doing pretty good. Okay, and then let's look at the cardboard here. Yeah, this I'm a little concerned about. So this is, you know, cardboard, when you punch them out, they're okay. But the cardboard thickness is not there. So, you know, I would be quite upset if I had purchased this game for $70 and this is what I got. But for $15, again, we'll give it a chance. It may be a really cute, fun game, but for $15, you know, the miniatures will hopefully be worth it. Again, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 miniatures. So, you know, a little more than $1 a miniature. If all I end up doing is giving these to my boys to practice painting. So that wasn't too bad. Let's take a look at our next game. Okay, so this next game is Neverlands Legacy. This is in the same line from Jasco Games as Albion's Legacy, their Legacy series, which is a little confusing because it's not a Legacy game. You're not tearing up cards or writing on cards or things like that. That's just the name they chose to make their line, and so everything's like such and such Legacy. This one was actually purchased secondhand, but I had been wanting this one ever since I acquired Albion's Legacy, because on top of King Arthur, Peter Pan is another, you know, one of those classic story tales that I really enjoyed as a child. And this game is completely different than Albion's Legacy. Essentially, you're sending in like raiding parties onto the boats to try and, I believe, rescue the Lost Boys and Wendy and things like that. But on the flip side, you could also play as the pirates and be ransacking the island. So I know a little bit about this game. I do remember it coming out on Kickstarter, and I considered it for a little while and then just couldn't pull the trigger at the end of the day. So here is a typical rule book for these Jasco games. It's like a, you know, paperback book size. Decent amount of text in here, but from what I understand, this game is easier to pick up on than the other one. And so then here are the main features of the game, are the kind of boards. And so you're either playing on where you start on Neverland here, and then you move onto the ship, and so you have to travel this way. And the ship gets smaller as you go down, which makes sense. So you start here on the island, and then you traverse onto these different spaces. And so there's really not a lot of footprint of game here, but, you know, pirates are popping up, and it just seems to work well. There's, you know, specific things that happen in each room, and you basically are making your way down through the pirate ship, rescuing people, and then getting back out again. On the flip side, however, you can have the exact same style game, but you are traversing the island, and you start on the Jolly Roger. So that's what it would look like if you're the pirates. You start on the Jolly Roger and work your way across the island. So again, pretty unique, just kind of board setup there. And what's interesting about these games is that they basically use the same symbols. So the same dice, these are just purple as opposed to the kind of maroon color. The same, you know, these same metal coins, which have the same symbol on them as Albion's Legacy. And a lot of these tokens look very similar to Albion's Legacy. So, but then here you have more pirate-themed ones. Some more here, native stuns. So these are probably, if you are playing, you know, depending on who you're playing, you can keep one of these bags in the So So there's like these search cards, treasure, loot, Michael Darling. See, there's a hostage you have to rescue. Then there's these threat cards. So, you know, blue threat coming in there on the bottom level and put a search token out. Blue threat here and here. So this is how you play the game. This is all a cooperative game. Nobody's controlling the enemy. You're either controlling the pirates trying to ransack the island, or you're controlling Peter Pan and company and trying to rescue people off the boats. So here again, you have very similar threat cards for when you're playing the pirates, and the Lost Boys are the enemies. So pretty much it's like 2 games in one here. You basically decide who you're going to be, and you pick up the necessary stuff. So this is just a whole bunch of tokens for the people. There's no miniatures in this game. This appears to be a tiny little lifeboat, which is funny. But then here are the player boards. And so again, I don't know what like Despair does or these things, but each one has a special ability. Wendy is a badass in this game. Here is Tinkerbell and Tiger Lily, and each of these has something on the other side, I believe. Okay, so when they're an enemy, so you probably keep all of these out at the same time. So Wendy is an enemy, Tinkerbell is an enemy, Tiger Lily is an enemy, and so then you have Smee. Here's Gentleman Starkey, Billy Jukes, James Hook, and Mr. Smee. Then on the flip side, this is if you were playing with them. So again, this is almost like having 2 games in one. I'm hoping that, again, I got a really good deal on it because I purchased it used from someone who was just trying to get it out of their collection. And I'm hoping that it just, fits the theme well, and it'll be a nice game to play down the road with my kids. So that was Neverlands Legacy. This is a little annoying. Definitely feel like Jasco Games could do better with their storage solutions. So, like, this works, keeping the stuff here and here. And this is all fine. But why is this piece so big that it doesn't quite fit in that? Why couldn't they make this just that much bigger? Instead, I'm worried it's going to get bent up. So, but that's just my 2 cents. There you go. That is Neverlands Legacy. All right, next up on the list is Starcadia Quest. This is another one that I picked up off of someone who was just trying to cull their collection, and I ended up selling it to me for $30, and it was a local purchase, so I didn't have to pay for shipping. And I was like, $30? I can't believe that. I was not 100% sold on Arcadia Quest, but one thing I really did like was painting up the miniatures. So I thought, if nothing else, I'll just paint up the miniatures in Starcadia Quest, and maybe down the road, if I hold on to it, Come On Games will come out with a solo variant for Starcadia Quest like they did for Arcadia Quest, and maybe even improve it to the point where it's worth playing. But I was like, Starcadia Quest, by CMON, any CMON game for $30. But that's not even the kicker. It also came with the Armada expansion, which from what I have heard, and I can't get a firm grasp on whether it is or not, but supposedly this is a Kickstarter exclusive that you could only purchase if you back to the Kickstarter. So I don't know where like the stretch goal box is. Maybe Armada was the stretch goal box, but yeah, it just goes to show you this time of year especially, people are always trying to cull their collection to either make room or make some money, whatever it may be. So keep an eye out on those secondhand markets. So let's just take a super quick look at Starcadia Quest, mainly the miniatures here, because that's almost the entire reason why I bought the game. So this is, a CMON game, so the component quality should be spot on. I've not heard about any problems with the rule book and things like that. And from what I understand, they just improved on a lot. I believe these are like your little portal ships. you kind of enter into the space station with these. Your campaign sheets, plenty of those. Here's what the back looks like. This is the enemy track, which works differently than Arcadia Quest. I believe it's a lot more random who's going to be in the games. There's just some fun art on the back of that. Oh, look. Here is the person who is playing last. Looks like he played 2 scenarios. That was it. So there you go. All right, here are the player boards. Now with Arcadia Quest, they reduced the number of heroes you control from 3 down to 2. Otherwise, these should look pretty familiar. And again, just some unique art. I wonder if it's, yeah, it's all the same. All the same art on the back. So there's 4 player boards there. Then we've got classic lid. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, so one of the nice things about Arcadia Quest was that the map tiles were just big and square. What's interesting is that these are not two-sided. I don't know why they wouldn't have made them double-sided, but these are just single-sided, so these are all just pretty standard, you know, space-themed big tile boards here, so we're not going to bother checking all those out. What is nice about this game versus the other one is that the equipment that goes onto your player card are these cardboard. So just by comparison, this cardboard, I can just tell in my hands, is much thicker than that Ninja Division cardboard. This is not really going to bend at all. But here you can see you flip them over instead of throwing an exhaust token onto things. And so this appears to do a pretty good job of holding everything in place. There's even some room for some extras here. It's not even completely filled out, but lots of cardboard here. This should pull out. All right. Okay, so dice, exploding dice. Yep, pretty familiar with that. And here we have all of your scenarios. So scenario setup, scenario 2B, and then these should be all your like character cards and things like that, trooper cards. Yeah, so Digits, Digits, Star Kid, Colonel Blaze McGunner. That's got to be Avatar. You know, I think they definitely we're just poking, yeah, like that is Blade. Poking fun at some of the classic sci-fi movies when they created this game, but I have no idea what he's from. I guess that's supposed to be Chewbacca. Digits, yeah, I don't know what Digits is from. Anyways, and then there's a whole bunch of these cards, and somewhere in here are some enemies. Here's some Thorn, Iceheart, Peek Around, Octorule, Octocold, Peekaboom, Weeble, Scuttlebutt. So yeah, just pretty much typical rubber base rings there. But this is really what makes most, well, that's interesting. Can't really get it out without pulling everything else out of the box. And see, these are just fun. They're high quality, chibi style miniatures that should just be a load of fun to paint. So here are the heroes along the bottom. And then, you know, here's Captain Thorn, who has a striking resemblance to Thrawn with his pose. Here's the, you know, abominable snowman creature, Chewbacca, maybe creature. Who else was fun? Here's Blade, or Razor, or Edge, or whatever his name was. So yeah, pretty standard fun from Simon Games, but it's not over. Like I said, I was also getting rid of an expansion. So this one comes with a whole new enemy board. The enemies come out in different ways because they're pirates. A rule book specific to the Armada expansion, even more campaign sheets. This appears to be different on the back, but that's about it. More equipment, which is always good. It's always nice to just have more stuff to add variety. This basically doubles the scenarios in my game. And then we've got two heroes, Barb and Marshmallow. And we've got Bonehead, Jolly Jock, Dogwatch, Krabby Meg, he looks like, and Wet Willy. Those last two guys look like they could be really cool. Then there are these assault cards, which I'm not really sure what they're for. Everything sits in here nicely, nice storage. This just appears to be a spacer. Let's see, some pirate themed space, 3 new boards, 3 additional boards. And then, again, it just makes it all worth it for a CMON game. Are the miniatures, so they're not this way with it, which is interesting. Okay, so here's like the Marshmallow guy. He looks like he's going to be a lot of fun to paint. I'm not really sure what movie he's poking fun at. Here is Wet Willy, the pirate. And then the Megalodon shark. This is a really cool one. Big oversized miniature with a lobster claw, shark head, cyborg fist. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so that is Starcadia Quest. All right, the last game in our fun little unboxing video today is Horrified, which should be, everybody should be pretty familiar with. I actually covered this game on the channel, but it was on Tabletop Simulator during Halloween. But I enjoyed that, playing it on Tabletop Simulator so much that I have been on the lookout for it, purchasing a physical copy. And it, I believe, even at the time of this filming, at least, it is still less than $25 on Amazon, which is a really good deal for a game that hopefully will stay in my collection, kind of always come out around Halloween. I'll be able to play with kids in the future, and it's soloable. Even has some miniatures that I may paint down the road. I've seen some people paint them, but it's not necessary. So some of you may be very familiar with this game and can run away now, but that's fine. I'm just gonna go through this real quick. So here is the board. Not a super big fan of these kind of, my last defense game was the same way. There's like this large gap that they're trying to fill with just a sticker, and it just kind of gets bent up funny. Anyways, but here's the board. For those of you not familiar, this is basically like an action selection game. You get a certain amount of actions, you move around, you try and rescue people, but you try and collect certain tokens to thwart these specific monsters, universal monsters that are part of your game, and those can always change or be randomized. Here's the instruction booklet. I've already read through this on Tabletop Simulator before. Pretty straightforward, does a good job of explaining the game. Here is all the cardboard. There's a fair amount of cardboard tokens because there's all these, you basically run around and you pick up these tokens, and then a lot of them, like either the color matters because you want a set, or the number matters because you need to have 6 total red or something like that. So yeah, let's just kind of take a look at what else is in here real quick. That wasn't too bad to get off. So we've got our You know, it's nice that the kind of player boards, which are really just something like this, is a nice thick cardboard. And then just standees for the investigator. No, these are the people you rescue. These are the standees for the people, the heroes that you play with. And then things like, depending on if you play with Wolfman, this is going to cover the laboratory. If you play with the Invisible Man, this is going to cover the precinct. If you play with the Mummy, this is going to cover the museum, because they do certain things with certain characters. So here's the rest of the investigators. Again, they're just, you know, blank on one side, but it's kind of nice that they're this nice thick cardboard, not just cardstock. Then we've got some other stuff, some specific tokens. Here's the camp overlay. This is probably like first player token. Here's dials for Frankenstein, the boat token. Yeah, just various tokens for the various monsters. And then here's the rest of the items. All right, here are the monsters. So unlike the heroes, the monsters actually get the miniature treatment. They're color-coded, so they're easy to spot. But again, a lot of people have said, you know, you're not doing these guys justice by just making them, you know, all one color. So they're not like super high quality, but they're decent. They're fine. They're perfectly fine for a mass market game. And you're not buying these for the miniatures. So there's Dracula and Swamp Thing, Creature from the Black Lagoon, sorry. Invisible Man and the Mummy, and Wolfman. Okay, nice bag, actually. I guess pull out the tokens, some dice, which we know usually these are to attack when the monster attacks you, so you're looking for blanks. And then color-coded standees for the victims, things like that. This insert's okay. Here's some cards. I'm not gonna open these up yet, just for the sake of time. And then last but not least, we have the boards that are specific to the monster. So this is where the keys to the whole game come from. Essentially, this informs how you can win the game. So, you know, Dracula, you have to go around, you're going to be placing a coffin in each of these locations. You have to go and smash it by playing 6 plus worth of red items in each one. Then you can attack Dracula. He takes 6 plus yellow to defeat him, garlic. And what's nice is that whenever you're not using one, the other side gives you kind of a brief description of setup and things like that. So the Mummy is really fun because you have these tokens around the outside here that are flipped over. So when you go to the museum, you can spend yellow, and the amount that you spend, the number on it, means you can flip over and or move. So you would like move one into the middle and move him around. You got to get him into the right spot. So it's like this little puzzle before he's available to be defeated. Frankenstein and the Bride are actually a duo that are moving around the board, and you actually have to keep them apart until you can get them each to 8 or 11, I guess, moving their dials. Here is Creature from the Black Lagoon. He utilizes, you know, jumping. So you play a yellow, you're going to move to the yellow X. So then if you were to play a blue, you'd only move one. But if you can play another yellow, you jump all the way up to here. So, you know, set collection basically similar with here. You're looking for blue tokens, values 1, 2, and 3, and then again 1, 2, and 3. And then the Invisible Man, you need to go to specific locations to pick up evidence. And I believe there is a small expansion somewhere, but I'm not even sure how to pick up that expansion, but I believe that's the Phantom of the Opera. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Horrified for anybody that's never seen it unboxed before. Again, this was purely meant to be fun. If you are really wanting to see in-depth components of something, please let me know. I could probably do a re-unboxing or a more in-depth look at a game. I'll definitely be playing this one on camera sometime soon, just because it's a lot of fun. And start Cadia Quest. If I can figure out a way to play that one solo, we'll probably play that one. And Neverlands Legacy eventually will be coming with Alpion's Legacy And I'll let you know about 12 Realms. I got to read the instruction booklet on that. So, but again, these were all my Christmas gifts to myself. So Merry Christmas to me. Hopefully all of you are having a wonderful holiday today. And this video gives you a little fun break. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.